Be a very short demonstration video for Priority and Shopify. So we have developed a couple of synchronization integration points for Priority and Shopify. So let's get started. So first of all, for Priority and Shopify, we have built up the customer synchronization process. So basically the customers needs to be registered from the front end Shopify store, and then those details will be synced back and forth from Priority to Shopify or Shopify to Priority. So let's quickly give out all the information which is needed. So first of all, the customer name, and followed by the contact information of that particular customer. Now this customer synchronization that we have built up, that is based on bidirectional synchronization process. Customers can be synchronized from Shopify to Priority, and at the same time, if any existing customer details are present on the Priority end, and then we can synchronize the entire contact or billing shipping details from Priority to Shopify as well. So after giving the contact information, let's quickly give the billing and shipping details over here. So let's quickly mention all the details and along with the customer name. So here I need to choose out all the information which is needed. So the company name, and then followed by the all the details like the address, the city, country, phone number. So I have added all the mandatory information from Shopify front-end store for this particular customer, and using this APPSeCONNECT agent, which is a very lightweight component. So we are going to synchronize the integration point for this particular purpose. So the customer add would be the name of the synchronization point, and using this customer add, so we have two triggers, and using those two triggers we can either manually synchronize all the data either from in between the two individual platforms, or we can select the automatic trigger mode, and using that automatic trigger mode, automatically there would be a background process and all the data will get exchanged in between the required platforms. So once this customer synchronization has been done, I'll quickly going into the following scenario to see that whether the customer has been present or not. So here under the CRM section, there would be a customer section, and so I'm quickly check with the customer name that the customer which I created has been perfectly synchronized or not. So that would be the name of the customer, Roger Stiff, and you can find out all the details along with the contact and address information. All the details have been synchronized in the Priority ERP. Now let's quickly move ahead with the next integration point, which is item synchronization. This item synchronization is a bidirectional process, but using the standard sales scenario, we are going to create the items under the part catalog section of Priority inventory, and we are going to give the entire item details over here. So I'll start with the part number. So that would be the part number which I am right now giving, item 802. The description would be the name of the item. So here I am just quickly providing the name of this particular item. Now moving ahead with some of the mandatory fields. So under the additional details, we have declared a checkbox over here, and that is purchased via website. So that's a flag. So we take part this particular flag in the interface from Priority. So when this flag has been checked on, so that means that the item will be synchronized from Priority to Shopify. But in case if the flag somehow it has been missed out to check this flag, that means the item will not going to synchronize from Priority to Shopify. So that's a field, or that's a differentiator key. Now moving ahead with the another information fields which we have provided over here, and that is attribute set. So you can define the attribute set, you can synchronize those attribute set, and you can assign multiple attributes along with that. For prices, we generally give the wholesale price that has been mapped with the Shopify product or item section. So what we are going to give is the wholesale price under the prices and cost section. Now coming back to the attributes and categories part, So we are going to give the attribute, let's say there can be multiple attributes for a product, for an item. So I'm just quickly select the size of this particular item and then moving ahead with the color, let's say red. So I'm quickly select all the attributes for this particular item, and now I can move ahead with the category. So I can choose the category under which I want this particular item to be showcased in. So I can choose the category part from here. So that's the category part which I am choosing for this particular section. Now moving ahead with the next part, and that is the remarks. The remarks has been mapped with the description tab of Shopify item. So whatever description I'm going to give over here, that has been mapped with the description tab of items in Shopify. So once this remarks or the description has been done, now I can upload one image over here. So to upload the image, that has been stored having a proper naming convention, and so I can choose the image from the particular section where I have just stored that particular image. So that's the image which right now I'm going to choose, and that has been uploaded. So once the uploaded process has been done, the entire information is there. So the item image has been there, the item entire information along with the attribute set, attributes, categories, and the entire description. So all these fields are there, and along with the checkbox, which is a required field to segregate between the active and non-active items in priority. So that would be auto saved from the priority end. I save this particular item from here, and that would be the integration point that we have created, and that is product tag using part catalog. So whatever extra information, if we want to modify, if we want to change, then we can also do the modification on the priority side, and based on that we can showcase those modification on the Shopify side as well. So once this process has been done, to check successfully all the details are present or not, I'm quickly going into the item section of Shopify, and I'll search with the item name. So that's the item which I have created. So you can find out that's the item, Apple iPhone 6, and along with the images, along with the attributes. So here the description, which has been mapped with the remarks tab, part remarks of priority part catalog. That's the entire description of the product. Under the tags option, so tags have been mapped with the categories of priority. So whatever categories you have been selected, that is showcaseable under this tags option of Shopify. Coming back to the variance, so here the entire variants are there. So that would be the product size, that would be the color, basically the attributes which you have selected from the priority end, and that would be the wholesale price, and that would be the part number or the SKU of this particular item. Now apart from that, if any other extra changes you have made from the priority end, those will be completely synced back to Shopify. Similarly, since this process is a bi-directional process, so whatever description, whatever item part number, the wholesale price you want to give on the Shopify end, those entire details will be successfully synced back from Shopify to priority. So if any kind of additional or existing items you have on the Shopify side, you can successfully synchronize those data from Shopify to priority. Now moving ahead with the next process, which is inventory synchronization process. So for inventory sync, what I am going to do is that I'm going to give the inventory count, and so for that I am just quickly going into the warehouse control and inventory count tab. That would be the details of it. You can choose the current date, the document number that would be provided over here. So now you have to choose the warehouse code for it. So once the warehouse code has been defined from this particular option, you can go into the itemized inventory count, where you have to select the part number based on the number or based on the name. So you have to choose that particular item which you have created, and then based on that you can adjust the stock. So that would be the item which you have created. So now let's say I'm going to provide the stock or quantity as 800, and now there would be a flag on the inventory side, and that's the approved flag. So you have to approve the inventory count from this particular option, so that whatever inventory count or whatever inventory adjustment you have done from this priority warehouse control section, those would be reflected back to your required e-commerce platform. So now we have an integration point for it, and that is inventory update with variance. So along with the item, the entire variance attributes, or the colors, all the attributes, all the variants are there along with that. So whatever inventory you have set for those particular variants, those entire things will be reflected back to Shopify using this particular integration point, and this can be automatically done as well. So now in the Shopify side, if I quickly look into this inventory part, we can find out the inventory has been updated. So in this way, the inventories can be synced from priority to Shopify as well. Now coming back to the order part. So in the order part, we can do the order, or we can place the order either using registered customer details. So for registered customers, the customer details are already there. Both are present on Shopify and priority end. The item is there. So now I can place the order using the registered customer details. And another scenario is that, let's say if a guest customer is there, so that particular customer doesn't have any kind of particular details in the Shopify front end side. So they just features the items and then just randomly provide their current customer information, and using that guest customer details against a default customer code, the items or the orders will be placed from Shopify to priority. So first of all, I'm going to showcase you how you can place the order using the registered customer details, and then moving forward I'll showcase you that using the guest customer details how the orders can be fetched. Okay, so now I have the customer details over here. So from the front end store of Shopify, I'm just quickly going to fetch the item for which I want to place the order. So here is my item, Apple iPhone 6, and the product size has been selected from here. The product color has been added. Now I'll quickly add this item to cart. So the quantity, you can select the quantity as well. Let's say 2, 1 or 2. Then you can proceed with the checkout option. Now coming back to the tax and freight method. So this tax and freight method, or the freight charges, all this can be properly mapped in between Shopify and priority. So whatever extra information or whatever tax code you want to define on the Shopify end, that exact tax code can only be showcaseable to the priority end as well. So this can be properly mapped using the value mapping option of APPSeCONNECT. And since I want to place the order using the registered customer details, so all the information have been added over here because the customer has been registered earlier. Now coming back to the shipping method, so I have selected one shipping method for this particular demo, but it can be mapped in between Shopify and priority, whatever shipping method someone requires for. Now coming back to the payment method, so here I'm going to use a dummy payment method, and so I just quickly provide all the mandatory details for it. So let's say that would be the information following the CVV number, and now I quickly place the order from Shopify end. So once the order has been placed from the Shopify front-end store using the registered customer details, I have this integration point from Shopify to priority, and that is order add. So the sales order that you have created, that can be successfully synced back to your priority store using this particular integration point. So once the synchronization point or the data integration point has been triggered, I can quickly going into the sales order section of priority and using the order ID. So the order ID has been mapped with the customer PO field. So the order number you can provide under this particular section, which is customer PO, and you can find out that the order has been fetched or not. So after giving that order ID under the customer PO section, I can find out the entire details are there using the registered customer details. Here would be the customer number, here would be the name of the customer, and now if I going into the order item section, so under this particular section, all the fields are required and all the fields are there. That would be the part description, the quantity of the entire tab. So all fields are mandatory fields, and these fields are present under this particular section. Now if I going into the shipping address details, here would be the entire details are present. So in the shipping item details, you can find out the details of that particular customer. And another thing is that this prepaid flag should be automatically checked on whenever the order has been placed from Shopify to priority. So as you can see, the prepaid flag has been checked on. Now moving ahead with the account or credit card to charge. So once the order has been placed, you can find out that there would be the payment code and there would be the credit card number and the payment terms code, and the entire details are present on this particular end. Now on the Shopify part, if there is an authorization code mentioned on the Shopify end, as by default Shopify doesn't have any kind of field for the authorization code, but if the field is present on the Shopify end, then we can map that field with the priority under this account or credit card to charge, this particular option. So apart from that, all the payment code details like account or credit card to charge, all the details are mentioned on this particular section. This is using the registered customers. Now I am just quickly showcasing you by placing an order using the guest customer details. Okay, so for that I'm just quickly search the item for which I want to place the order. So let's say that would be the item which I'm just going to select from the Shopify front-end store. Now this item has been added to cart along with the proper attributes which I selected for this particular item. Now I move ahead with the checkout process. So I am a guest customer and I don't have any kind of login credentials for it. So I just quickly want to provide a new details from this particular option. So I quickly log out from that. And here I just need to mention my email ID. Let's say this is the email ID for it. Now following with the contact information. So that would be the name of the particular customer, and here would be the details of it. So now I can change the address as well. So let's say that would be the address. I just quickly mention, and all the details have been updated. So that's the shipping address, that's the guest customer details I'm just going to give when I place the order using a guest customer. So on the priority side, the order would be like this. So against a default customer code, the orders have been placed or fetched from the Shopify to priority end. Similarly, tax and freight, this can be properly mapped in between Shopify and priority. And coming back to the payment method, so I'm just quickly giving the following details. So that would be the dummy payment method details over here. So now once I'm done with mentioning the guest customer details and the order has been placed from my front-end Shopify store, so now I'm just quickly synchronize this particular integration point for it. So that would be the integration point order at. So once this has been done, I can quickly go back to my priority store, priority ERP, and we'll see that whether the order has been fetched or not. Okay, so now you can find out that the order has been placed using Ketty Merchant, that is the guest customer details, and I can check in the Shopify backend store also using the order number. So that would be the order, guest order, which I placed from my Shopify backend store. That's the order ID. So once I give the order ID into this customer PO section, in this particular field, you can find out the entire order details are there. So that would be the guest customer details using or against a permanent or default customer code. And if I going into the shipping address details, that would be the details of that guest customer. That would be the state code, the VAT code, and the phone number. The entire details are present. And if I going into the account or credit card to change, you can find out the payment terms, the payment code or the payment terms code, everything, each and every information is there which we receive from the Shopify end. Similarly, if we want to see the items, the order items against which I place the order. That would be the entire details of that order, having the tax and having the freight amount. So another thing is that the flag, that is prepaid field, that is the flag that would be automatically checked if I place the order from my Shopify to priority. So these are the couple of integration points that we have created in case of the environment for Shopify and priority. If you have further queries, you can directly contact with us. Thank you.